things.
All
Okay.
right, so we're recording, and I'm going to work with a video editor. So if you go off the rails or you start rambling or you mess up, no worries at all. We don't need to get like a clean answer all in one take.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. So why don't we start by you introducing yourself, and if you could start with a nice clean intro that says, my name is, and I make blah blah blah, and then tell me a little bit about what it is that you make.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kate. I'm the designer and maker of Clouds and Ladders jewelry, and I'm wearing some of my earrings right now. I make jewelry here in my studio in Forestville, California. It's handmade with the help of my studio assistant. And I solder the frames out of brass, and then I put polymer clay inside of it, and then I just sand it and polish it to get a really smooth matte finish. My jewelry is inspired by art and design and different designers and makers who I know, and it's very colorful, and I have a lot of fun making it, and I just think that the fun that I have kind of carries over into the jewelry and hopefully brings fun and smiles to the people who see it and wear it.
That was a beautiful answer. Thank you. And it's always so fascinating for me to hear on a personal level too, because I shop at Umami. I've seen your earrings. I think they're beautiful. So this is a little bit of a fangirl moment for me too. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so maybe for my next question, I'll ask you how it is that Umami entered your world. And if you could again just like start your response with either I met Melanie when, or I stumbled into Umami, however it is that you came to um, start selling your earrings at the shop. How did it start?
I actually can't remember. She contacted me, but
Oh,
I guess it can be the,
oh,
the
yeah,
story.
yeah. You can say
Definitely the story.
initially, yeah. Initially, Melanie reached out to me, and
Okay,
what was the conversation that you had, and what was the process of actually bringing in your product and sharing with her what that looked like?
okay. So initially, Melanie reached out to me about carrying Clouds and Ladders at Umami. And it was right at the very beginning of the pandemic. And she had just opened Umami. And she was deciding to pivot her business. She was starting Umami to do home interiors and decorating. I think that's what her background is, which you can definitely tell from the store because her store is just so gorgeous. Um, but so she decided that she wanted to keep going with starting her business, even though it was a pandemic. So she started carrying Clouds and Ladders. It was either right before the pandemic um, or right when the pandemic started. It's very close. But I will tell you what, I am just so impressed with her as a human being because um, she pivoted her business right at the beginning. And then she was like the only person of all the stores who I worked with who ordered with me consistently throughout the full 2 years of shutdowns and everything else. I think that she did like videos online. I'm not even sure what she did. She was amazing. She's just an amazing, like, creative individual who somehow just changed her entire concept of what she was going to do and made it work somehow. And I know I've spoken to other makers who she carries in the store, and they've said the same thing, that she's just consistently supported us and consistently ordered from us when other people were looking for other ways to, maybe make money. Or I'm not sure what people were doing, what other people were doing, but I can say definitely what Melanie was doing was continuing to support small makers such as myself during a difficult time when there wasn't a lot of places open and selling our stuff. So the other part of that is too that now that things are reopening and I'm meeting people in person, I meet so many people who are so excited to tell me that they've seen my jewelry at Umami and how much they love Melanie and how she's just so great, and they love the store, and they go in there all the time because they know they're going to see something fun and beautiful and different whenever they go in.
Wow, that was such an amazing answer. You actually answered a couple of my follow-up questions.
No,
And you did it so eloquently. You're doing my job for me. This is the best. And you're absolutely right. I have heard that from other makers. Erin Wheeler talked about how during the pandemic, a lot of places that carried her work stopped carrying her work, but
Mhm.
Melanie would text her every couple of weeks, like, I sold some more of your earrings. Can you make some more? Uh,
Yeah.
so so cool to hear that. My next question for you is like, as an artist, um, what does it mean to you to have another local business support your art? Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that in a financial aspect, an emotional aspect, just like a creative spirit. Like maybe you could just give me a couple of sound bites about, what it means to me as an artist to have somebody believe in my work and carry my work and continue to carry my work consistently.
Let me think about that. Um, well, I think that hmm, I think that having Melanie continue to work with me, I mean, it's just so meaningful because there are so many other options out there right now, and I go into stores and I know, like, I'm familiar with, what's just being bought from China because it's cheap, and those people are making this huge markup on it, and I know that people have that as an option. It's so easy to just buy stuff online and sell it and make a big income, um, but it takes somebody with really strong commitment to their values to say, "I want to support artists, and I wanna make that a part of my business model, and I'm going to make help people connect in my community, help like bring together the people who like art and the artists themselves instead of it just being about making money and running a business and everything else. I just feel like Umami has a deeper, and Melanie specifically has a deeper commitment to the community and to the artists who she works with. Um, and it means a lot to me because I'm existing in this world too, where there are days where I love what I do and I connect with people who love what I do, but I still think, why am I working so hard when I could just be buying stuff from China and reselling it, you know? I work like so much sometimes, and I'm just like, why am I doing this and getting that order from Melanie, when other people weren't ordering, or even now, um, it reminds me that there are people out there who appreciate what I'm doing and love what I'm doing and will be there for me to do it. Honestly, my assistant and I are always excited. We're always like, "It's another order from Melanie." And when I finally met Melanie in person after all of these years of only working with her online, because I think she found me on Instagram, I can't remember exactly, but I met her a few weeks ago in person, and it's just like an old friend. Like, we just hugged each other like 3 times because we've just developed this close commitment. I think that people like you, for example, and people who shop at Umami and Melanie and me, we have a certain set of values, that kind of make us, I don't know, a community, I guess, without even necessarily knowing each other, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, that's so beautifully stated. The community aspect is really cool, and it does feel palpable. I can't describe it myself, but when I go into the store, I feel like I'm surrounded by my friends, and in part that's Melanie and her staff, of course, but also the curation that's gone into this store is so special, and
Mhm.
it feels so unique. I wonder if you could describe to me in your own words what kind of store Umami is. Like, if you were to describe this to somebody who's never been there. When you met her, you went to the store, right?
I haven't actually. I just
Oh,
know about it from watching on YouTube. She does a lot of videos and
oh,
everything. And I've bought so many things just from her videos because she loves everything colorful and unique and vintage and um,
totally. So
Yeah.
where did you guys meet then when you met for the first time?
Oh, so there was a Nettle and Friends pop-up of like I think 10 or 15 designers in Oakland. And I don't think Melanie knew I was going to be there, and I didn't. And it was funny because somebody was wearing a pair of Clouds and Ladders earrings and shopping at the table and at my table and talking to me, and I was like, "Oh, look, there's somebody else with Clouds and Ladders earrings." And that person had just told me that, "Oh, I got these at Umami." And it was literally Melanie came over, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, here's somebody who got their earrings at Umami, and here's Melanie." So, yeah, that was the first time we met in person, and we were just kind of laughing about it. But yeah, that was the first time. So I've never actually been. Unfortunately, it's so far, and I don't make it down to the East Bay that often. But
Totally
it's
fair.
kind of when you invited me, I was like, finally, I'll get down there.
Okay, we'll still make it happen some point. I keep telling Melanie she needs to throw like a soiree, like some sort of like appreciation party for customers and vendors, and we'll just like block off the street. It'll be awesome.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun.
Yeah, she hates the spotlight, unfortunately, so it's a hard sell. She wants nothing to do with being famous in the neighborhood. So
Uh-huh.
that's why I'm here, to give her the credit she deserves.
That's good. We need people like you.
Pull it out of you. Okay, let me ask you a different question then. Have you, so you just described being at this show and like seeing somebody wear your earrings. Do you remember the first time that you saw somebody like in the wild wearing your earrings?
Hmm. Gosh.
And if so, what was that like the first time you saw?
Honestly, I don't really remember the first time, but I still get really excited every time it happens. It's just like the first time. Like when I see the things that I've made and somebody's wearing them, I remember like being here and using my hands and, soldering and, sanding and filing, and everything starts. I have things right here that I'm working on right now. Everything starts off looking kind of ugly. Um, it's like misshapen, and if you didn't know what it was gonna turn into, you'd probably just give up on it. And it's discolored and messy for like almost all of the steps until the end where it's like, this beautiful thing. So yeah, I remember. I mean, maybe not that specific item, but I remember like doing all of these steps where things are just absolutely hideous. He didn't know better. He just stuck it in the trash. And then I see somebody wearing it, and I'm just like, oh, a little teary eyed. Like, it's kind of amazing that it goes from this ugly, like, chunk of metal and whatnot into something. And then I see people walking around and they look confident and happy, and it's such a great feeling to know that I'm making a part of that and that I'm transforming things in that way. So
Wow, you nailed that answer. That was really beautiful. That's what I was wanting to hear. The teary-eyed moment when you see somebody wearing and enjoying and being like so much better for this work that you do, this thing that starts from nothing and then you get to see it out in the wild must feel really special. Cool. So my last question is actually, if there's anything else that you want to make sure um, gets in the video or comes across in some way that I didn't ask you.
I can't really think of anything. I
Okay.
think you did a great job of covering things that
You've done a great job. Like I said, and I had like a list of 10 questions and you answered like 4 of them in one. So you
but
made this too easy for me. And thank goodness, because it took us a little while to get started, but we did it just under time. So
perfect.
thank you so very much. I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay.